Who am I? I think it's the most fundamental question. It's the very beginning of spiritual work. To realize what I am and what I am not. Who am I amid all the pulls and voices that there are within myself? The first answer that I would get would be a list of all the things that I think I am as if filling a form. Female, age, marital status. Is that what I am? Is that all I am? Because there's something in me that senses that there's more, that doesn't even start touching what I am. So how do I find what or who I really am? Well, to start with, who you are is very, 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 very far from what you can ever imagine. But the first step to get a clearer picture of who or what you are, what I am, is to start looking and asking in earnestness who I am. Who am I? And the question comes, how do I look? Where do I start looking? Well, many systems, very rightly so, divide the human into three parts. And the three parts are the mind, the heart, the emotions, and the body. If you try to look at a compound of what makes you, it can be condensed to a series of thoughts, a series of emotions, and physical responses. Think about it. Anything you can experience is either a thought, an emotion, or a physical response. So, you are thoughts, emotions, and physical responses. Or are you? You can very well say that even an animal can have a certain level of not thoughts like cues, mental cues, emotions and physical responses. So, am I no different than a dog? Sometimes animals are even better than humans because they have no doubt at all of what they are. A dog instinctually knows what it is. It will never ask, who am I? So where do I start? And my suggestion today is to start looking at thoughts. So I would say, look at a thought and ask yourself, really curiously, what is this? Where am I experiencing this thought? How does it feel? Does it have a shape or a substance? And the voice that I hear, what voice does it have? And start looking at what is it telling you. The aim here is to question how useful some of our thoughts are, and to get familiar with the voice and what it is saying, and to question what is it made of, and that substance, how real is it? And this is tricky, because when I say how real, I need to explain this. I experience thoughts as some sort of cloud, a blurry cloud in the region of my head, and it has a voice or a message. It's telling something. Usually, my thoughts are describing something. They describe the word to me. And they are not very creative in the sense that they label the word. If I'm looking around at my kitchen, I see pot. My mind, the thought says, needs washing. And I see cup, and the mind says, back into the cupboard. And what I can do is follow these cues and flit through the kitchen from label to label. Now, if I take this example, I can take it even further, and I can put it on the environment, on people, and myself. I see a person, and the mind gives a thought. Immediately, it's super quick, and the thought will always be a label. The mind cannot be really creative, because the labels that it gives are the ones that it has learned through upbringing and through observation of others. Something you have read, something you have seen in a book, and we have a variety of labels for everything. In fact, when we don't have a label for something, which is very rare, this might happen when we're abroad and we see something new, sometimes we stop in our tracks and we experience a moment, a brief moment, because the mind recollects again, where there are no thoughts, where there's nothing. So if you look really, really carefully, you'll see that you are experiencing the world as a series of labels that you have decided are true from your experience. But it's not really your experience, because most of the time it's what your parents have said, it's what your teacher has said, it's what you have picked up. It's not a direct experience. And anyway, you can see a person which looks a certain way, and the mind brings up its label. If you meet the person from that label, you will never truly experience that person. And this is what the mind is doing to us all the time. It is preventing us from experiencing anything, because the only thing that we can experience is the label. So what would life be without the labels? What is a tree without the label tree? Can you stop and try to imagine looking at a tree without thinking tree? what would be the experience of that? If you start seeing how limited our thoughts are, this is very difficult for people who see themselves as clever or creative. They can be creative, as in, what do I mean by creative? They do things differently, but it still will be operating from their label. So when you start looking, you will see that there's a pattern. Whenever I look at something, I will always say the same thing. Always. Always. There's nothing new. It's just labels. Pattern of labels. And the pattern, because one label will bring up another label and another label and another label, and then it can take you for a joyride onto a marvelous story which you have invented and which does not exist. So in that moment, you are very, very far away. The moment where you are on an imaginary story, you are very far away from a true experience of life. The true experience of life can only be had here and now. Nowhere else. The true experience of life is the texture of a chair beneath you, the breath in your body, the temperature of the room, the smells in the air, the sights and the colors. And yes, a truly rich life can be reduced and, or at the level we're living at, I can say, totally expanded to the experience of being fully in the moment. But if we keep following our thoughts, our compulsive thoughts, our repetitive thoughts, what life is that? Nothing new can be done, nothing new can be experienced, nothing new can be seen. Only more thoughts. New thought comes in, you put it in with another thought which is similar to it. You can experience like, and quickly fit it inside your paradigm or shift your paradigm in a way or another, and now you have a new label. A new label which will prevent you from actually seeing things for what they are, because no two experiences are the same. No two cups are the same. No two people are the same. No two trees are the same. So I invite you to start looking at your thoughts and then ask yourself, is this real? And when I say real, I don't mean as something which does not exist. Though in a way, a thought is so unreal, so limited, so ephemeral, because as I said, it's a cloud with a message, with a label, with a voice, compared to what is truly real, solid, material. It does not even exist. But these are what we use as our guidelines in our life. We have a situation at work and we don't like the boss because they are this kind of person. I'm not saying that there are people who act unjustly towards others. But if you remove the story that is being said, if you remove the label, which is an ephemeral, cloud, which is in substance unreal, then what would your experience be? I can say for myself, without the label, that is true freedom. So, let me know your thoughts. I hope this was helpful. And I'm looking forward to next time when maybe we can speak about emotions. Because thoughts and emotions go together. But first, observation has to be done in parts. So we start with thoughts. Thank you. See you.